Lucy cautiously approached her mother's room and peeked inside. Diana was sitting on the bed and looking at the phone, which she held in her hands. Her mother's face was sad and as if alien. Lucy even felt scared, because the girl did not remember Diana like that. Mother always smiled, laughed, loved to joke, and knew how to enjoy life. Now she was little like a person, more like a creature from which the life had gone, and only a shell remained, making the young and beautiful woman look like one of the dolls with which Lucy liked to play. Everything changed the day her father left home. He returned from work as usual, sat down at the table, ate his dinner, leaving untouched the salad and compote, then looked first at his wife, then at his daughter, after which he sighed heavily and suddenly said, "I can't go on like this." 7-year-old Lucy looked at her father in surprise. Maybe Archie was referring to dinner. Her mother had cooked a lot, and the man had simply eaten too much. And now he could no longer contain the rest of the food. But it was clear from Diana's face that it was clearly not about dinner. "You can't? Archie, you're scaring me." The mother's face turned pale, and Lucy was frightened, noticing her mother's reaction. The girl felt the tension at the table, and she became really scared when she looked at her father again. Archie lowered his head, twirled the fork in his hand, then suddenly threw it on the table, and with such a clatter that Lucy jumped on the spot from surprise. "I can't," repeated the man loudly. "I can't go on like this. I can't come back here and pretend that nothing is happening." Lucy was completely confused because she didn't understand what her father was saying. What was going on? What was Archie even talking about? Could it be that something terrible had happened that neither she nor her mother knew about? "Nothing's going on, Archie," Diana said icily. "Everything's fine. You're going to take a shower now, and then we'll go to bed. We'll sleep in the morning." "No," Archie said loudly and clearly again, "we're not going to have another morning together. I'm packing my things and I'm leaving." "No." Diana jumped up in her chair, ran over to her husband, and grabbed him by the shoulders, while Lucy continued to sit frightened at the table, watching her parents. "You're not leaving? You can't leave us. You can't leave." "I can." The man gently removed his wife's hands from his shoulders, then stood up, looked at his daughter and smiled weakly. "Lucy will understand me someday. My dear, you will have a brother or a sister." Lucy was completely confused. Her mother looked strange, her father was determined, but what they were talking about remained unclear to the 7-year-old girl. What brother or sister? What was Archie talking about? Mom wasn't pregnant, so was the other woman expecting a child with her father? Lucy had heard this story from her friend from the yard. Leslie had a close-knit family, and then Leslie's mom found out that her husband had a child with another woman. So their close-knit family fell apart, and could it be the same for their family? "Lucy, don't listen to Daddy," Diana said sternly. "Archie, let's go to the room and talk calmly." "Diane, how much talking can we do? I'm tired of going on and on. You've been tormenting me for months and I'm tired. I want to leave. I'm having a hard time with you, and I don't want to play the role of loving head of the family." That evening Archie did pack up his things and leave, but Diana never left the bedroom again. She didn't do the dishes and Lucy did them instead. The girl choked on her tears, realizing that some part of their familiar life had broken away and flown into the abyss from which there was no return. Although Lucy was only 7 years old, she understood something about adult life, and it was not without reason that her grandmother, Diana's mother, spent so much time with her. Grandmother came to them the next day because Lucy, frightened that her mother had not left the room, called Anna and crying and struggling to formulate phrases, was able to explain what had happened. "What do you mean, Daddy's gone?" Grandma Anna didn't immediately understand what her granddaughter was telling her. "When did it happen?" "Yesterday." Sobbing, Lucy answered, "Grandma, Mom did not leave the room. I'm scared. I didn't even go to kindergarten. I'll be right there. I'll call work, I'll get an excuse, and then I'll come." Anna was really at their apartment about 40 minutes later. She banged on her daughter's door for a long time until she deigned to open the door. Lucy, crying and frightened, looked at her mother and did not recognize her. How could she have changed so much in just one night? Diana, pale and indifferent, looked at her mother as if she could see nothing in front of her. "Diana, what's wrong?" Anna asked the question several times before Diana realized she was the one being asked. "What happened?" she asked again. "Everything just died inside." Her grandmother glanced at Lucy, who had almost lost her senses when she heard her mother's words. The word dead sounded so awful, so hopeless, that she wanted only to run away from home and never come back, never to see Diana like that again. Nothing is dead, don't talk, Anna said sternly, it's time for you to go to work. I'm not going, her daughter replied dryly. I need a sick leave. Grandmother Anna, who worked at the clinic as a therapist, splashed her hands. What kind of news is this? What sick leave? Where is Archie? Archie's gone, Diana replied in a lifeless voice. He's gone and I don't want to go anywhere. Mom, leave me alone. Diana went back to her bed, lay down in it, wrapped herself in a blanket. Lucy continued to cry quietly, not knowing what would happen to their family now. Anna collected her granddaughter, took her to kindergarten, and from there she went to work. All day Lucy ate almost nothing in the garden, sat in the corner of the group, looking out the window, hoping to see Diana there. But her mother did not come for her, and the girl was taken from the garden that day by her grandmother Anna. You'll stay with me for a while, Anna said. Mommy will stay home alone. I'm afraid for Mommy, Lucy said in a quiet voice. What's wrong with her? She'll be all right, answered her grandmother. She just needs time to get her mind right. And are they not in place now? Lucy was at a loss to understand her grandmother. It turns out she was. So Lucy spent a little over a week at Grandmother Anna's, and her mother never once came to visit her. Lucy was homesick, cried a lot, ate badly, and thought about her mother all the time, remembering how good and happy they had been when they were still together. Lucy, Mama, and Papa. Grandmother Anna said almost nothing about Diana, but Lucy listened to every conversation Anna had on the phone. She looked at every detail of her grandmother's behavior to understand the main thing, how her mother was feeling. Diana, don't be crazy. Grandmother spoke softly on the phone in her room, but Lucy, with her ear to the door, heard every word Anna said. Stop torturing yourself. Don't go to him. He's gone. Let him live in peace. You are not giving life neither to yourself, nor to him, nor to the child. Think of Lenachka. Lucy realized that her mother didn't care about her. Probably Diana was taking some steps to bring her husband back to the family, but that evening even 7-year-old Lucy was clear that Archie was determined and unlikely to change his decision. Lucy met her father only once. He brought her daughter candy and a doll. Lucy twirled the doll in her hands for a long time, not understanding how her father could buy such a stupid toy for her. Lucy was 7 years old, and it had been a long time since she had played with such funny dolls. Lucy did not say anything to Archie. She did not show any joy. She was dry and did not talk much to her father. The only question that worried Lucy was the one she asked at the very end of the meeting. Will you go back to your mother? Archie looked at his daughter with a hunted look, lowered his head, and then shook his head. No, I won't. I can't live with her anymore. I love you. But I don't love my mom. I hope you'll understand me someday. Lucy said nothing and threw the doll down the garbage chute as soon as her father drove away from their house. Again Lucy cried and hoped for a miracle, but it never happened. One day, when Anna took Lucy out of kindergarten for the next time, it turned out that they were not going in the direction of her grandmother's house. Where are we going? Lucy asked, and her heart fluttered in her chest in anticipation. To your house. You've had enough of living with me. It's time for your mother to come back to life. Lucy was happy about that. She happily flew into the apartment and then saw her mother. Diana looked at her daughter indifferently, as if the week-long separation had never happened. Yes, her mother didn't look like a doll anymore, but she wasn't happy about her daughter's return either. Diana, I've brought Lucy, Anna said. Your sick leave ends tomorrow, mind you. You'll have to go back to work on Monday, so you'll have the weekend to recover and start living normally, not the way you've been living all these days. We'll see, Diana muttered. Grandmother left, and Lucy only then noticed how messy the house was. The only food left in the refrigerator was a moldy piece of cheese and an open jar of pickles. The bread in the bread box was moldy, and Diana didn't seem to have cooked anything at all these days. What did she eat? Mom, I'm hungry, Lucy announced to her mother when it was 9 o'clock in the evening. At the kindergarten, dinner was served at 5, so she was already hungry and sleepy, but Diana continued to lie on the bed with her back turned to the door. Go to the store and buy something, her mother said. It's getting dark out there, I'm scared, Lucy answered timidly. Diana jumped up on the bed. What's the matter with you? I lived peacefully without you, and now I have to feed you, take care of you. You have a father, by the way. Call him, have him order food, have him bring something. I can't carry everything on my own. Lucy looked fearfully at her mother, but she was about to cry. She had never seen her mother like this before. Her mother, kind, gentle, cheerful, had suddenly turned into a completely different person. Lucy obediently dialed her father's number. Archie answered immediately. What's wrong, daughter? Dad, I'm hungry and there's nothing at home. What about Mom? Didn't she cook anything? No, she tells me to go to the store, and it's dark and scary and the dogs are barking. I'm scared. Stay home, I'll be home soon. Don't go anywhere, do you hear me? Lucy hung up the phone and immediately saw her mother's face. Now Diana was looking at her daughter with interest, as if she was waiting for some important message from Lucy. Is he coming? She asked. He will, Lucy nodded, and suddenly she saw her mother's face smile. It was not the smile she was used to, but it was a terrible smile. The kind of smile that clowns used to have, and Lucy was terrified of them. Seeing her mother, Lucy hid in her room and waited for her father. Inside, the girl fought fear and anxiety for her mother. She wanted everything to change for the better. But how to achieve these changes, Lucy did not know and did not understand. Archie arrived. He opened the door with his own key, went into the kitchen, put out the groceries from the bag. Here is food, Maria cooked it, eat, said Lucy's father affectionately. What do you mean Maria cooked it? At the entrance to the kitchen appeared Mother. Why do you bring into the house what your grandmother cooks? If you do not cook and cannot feed the child, then someone else should do it, Archie replied dryly. Lucy was just about to open the food container when Diana grabbed the container, swung it around, and threw it against the wall. It shattered with a clatter, food smeared on the wall, and Lucy and her father looked at the woman like she was crazy. What are you doing? Archie asked, and Lucy couldn't contain herself anymore and cried loudly. What are you doing? Diana shouted back. Bringing your slut's food into the house, trying to make yourself look pretty. I came to feed my daughter. You don't care about her, you've got a nerve. I'm the one with a nerve? Did I sleep with another man? Did I destroy the family? There was nothing to ruin, said the father. It was all going down the drain. Archie walked toward the exit, and Diana clung to him with her hands, then fell to her knees, crawling across the floor after him. Lucy continued to cry and watched in horror at what was happening before her eyes. Diana was sobbing, begging her husband to come back, to forgive her, repenting of some sins and promising that everything would be different now. Archie tried to calm his ex-wife, pulled her fingers off his shirt, looked regretfully at his daughter, and then left the apartment. Lucy's mother lay on the floor like that, sobbing and still calling for her husband. Lucy sat at the table in the kitchen, staring at the food-stained wall and crying to the point of hiccups, then rubbed her eyes and felt a great fatigue suddenly come over her. Lucy walked past Diana lying on the floor in the hallway, stepped carefully over her, and then went to her room and lay down on her bed. She fell asleep in her clothes, for she had no strength to change. The next day her mother took Lucy to kindergarten. She silently lifted her daughter out of bed, did not even follow what her daughter was wearing, and then took her hand and led her to the group. She left and picked her up in the evening. Lucy ate almost nothing today, the teacher told the mother, and Lucy's mother only nodded dutifully. Lucy looked at her mother and realized that she didn't care what her daughter ate or didn't eat, how she felt or what she thought. But there was food at home. Diana had made soup from the food her father had brought the day before and poured it over her daughter. I don't want any, Lucy replied. Eat, her mother said sternly. I don't want to, I feel sick, the girl replied, looking at the stain on the wall, left after her mother threw the container into the wall yesterday. If you're nauseous, go to the bathroom. Diana said, Maria's food doesn't make you nauseous, but mine does. I'm just sick, Lucy squeaked and felt tears in her eyes. Her mother suddenly swung around and hit her on the head. Lucy was startled and then felt a sudden rush of nausea. She was twisted upright on the floor, and Diana screamed at her daughter, pushing her out from behind the table. Lucy, sobbing and clutching her mouth, ran to the bathroom where she was twisted once more. Sitting on the bathroom floor, the girl listened for a long time as her mother, cleaning herself up, swore at her with the last words, blamed her for bringing her father's mistress, for loving her father more than her mother, for not deserving to live with Diana. Mama doesn't love me, thought Lucy bitterly. Mama loves Papa, but she doesn't love me. I'm in her way. Diana looked into the bathroom. How long are you going to sit there? Come out and go to bed. Lucy looked at her mother, but did not object. She washed her face and went to her room. She crawled under the blanket, wrapped herself in it, and shivered for a long time, remembering her furious mother and the words she had said about her daughter. Superfluous, alien, unnecessary. Those words seemed to hammer away in the girl's head. No, such Diana Lucy did not know. It was another person, a stranger to her. In the morning the girl could not get out of bed. There was no strength. Diana came into her daughter's room close to lunchtime and tried to shake Lucy awake. Get up. Stop sleeping. Help me with the cleaning. Yesterday she made such a mess. It was horrible. Lucy did not answer anything. There was neither strength nor desire. She just lay in bed and stared at the ceiling. Can you hear me? Diana asked sternly. Or are you offended? Did you decide to show your character? By evening the mother began to worry, called Anna. Grandmother came in half an hour, looked anxiously at her granddaughter, took her temperature, asked about her well-being. Lucy was silent. We have to take her to the hospital, Anna summarized. Lucy is not good at all. It's like she's not alive. She vomited yesterday, answered the mother. Maybe she ate something in the garden. Diana, can you hear me? Grandmother raised her voice. Your daughter does not speak. She clearly has something with her psyche. What does ate something have to do with it? You weren't thinking about her when you were throwing tantrums at Sergei. And don't look at me like that. Yes, he called me and told me about what you did when you brought groceries and food for his daughter. His mistress cooked that food. Diana shrieked. I'm not going to let him bring home what she cooked with her own hands. You're killing your daughter. She's afraid of you. You have to do something or you'll lose her. She's my daughter. How can I lose her? Don't talk nonsense. Go home. We'll take care of it. Call a doctor, or better yet, take Lucy to the hospital. Anna tried to talk sense into her daughter, but it was like she couldn't hear her. Diana literally pushed her mother out the door, and then wailed for a long time about how she was fed up with everyone, her mother, her daughter, and her ex-husband and his mistress. Only she was unhappy and unappreciated. Only she was to be pitied. Lucy felt sorry for her mother, but at the same time she thought of only one thing. Her mother did not love her. She did not care what would happen to her. If Lucy lay in her room for a week, a month, a year, Diana wouldn't care. Her father will never come home, and without him there is no family, and Diana has no daughter. Lucy fell into a dream, then back to reality. She didn't realize how many hours, or maybe days, had passed when her father suddenly appeared beside her. Lucy looked around and realized that she was no longer at home, and there was another woman standing next to her father. Maria. She woke up, get some water. It was the same Maria. Lucy looked at the woman who brought a glass of water, handed it to the girl, and then sat down next to her on the bed and smiled. Her smile was so kind, so warm and bright that Lucy thought she was still asleep. Drink, baby, said the woman. Look, Archie, your face has turned pink. Lucy looked around in surprise. How had she gotten here? Not long ago she had fallen asleep in her room, full of fear and uncertainty, and today she was looking into her father's face, and this woman, she was so nice. Archie adjusted the blanket Lucy was covered with, then touched the girl's forehead. The sweat had gone away. Baby, how are you feeling? Fine, Lucy answered quietly and coughed. It was hard for her to speak. Her throat was sore. Hush, don't talk too much, Maria said soothingly. That evening Lucy got out of bed for the first time in days. Her father told her that Diana had called him on Sunday and demanded that he pick up his sick daughter. Her father couldn't leave Lucy, took her home, and called the doctor. Lucy slept for almost 2 days, and only now she began to come to her senses. You'll stay with us, said Archie. It's best for everyone. And Mama? Lucy asked, not quite sure whether she wanted to see her mother or not. Mother? I don't know. Maybe she'll come and visit you. Maria turned out to be a good person, and Lucy, who had shunned her in the early days, soon became accustomed to her kindness. Together with her father's new wife, they cooked dumplings, went shopping, and walked in the park. In kindergarten, Lucy has not yet gone to kindergarten. Will I have a brother or a sister? Lucy dared to ask this question 2 weeks after she had moved into her father and Maria's house. A brother, Maria smiled, in 4 months. I'll love him, Lucy said confidently, then suddenly gave Maria a big hug. Diana showed up at the kindergarten a month later. She came as if nothing had happened, called Lucy to her. Lucy, seeing her mother, was frightened because she was not expecting the appearance of her mother and did not know how to behave. Most of all, the girl was afraid of how Diana would behave, but the mother was calm and unperturbed. Let's go home, she said. It's enough to live with your father. You don't have a family there. Lucy frowned and took a step back. No family. I don't want to go with you. Did your father put you up to this? Her mother's voice rose immediately, and Lucy squeezed her head into her shoulders fearfully. I don't want to go with you, I want to live with Daddy. You're a fool because, she said, and then looked at Lucy as if she wanted to destroy her with her gaze. You betrayed me. And so did he. Her mother had never called her that before,